You're watching your favorite and number one podcast platform, The Talking Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us this week with another epic episode. My name is David Mubita and I'm your host. Super excited, and of course, we have a very special guest in the studio. I'll be joined by a very young African leader, DAMILARE Oyedele, who is, also a librarypreneur. Well, I don't know what that means, but we're sure to get to understand what he does. The topic for today is the youth and leadership in Africa. Now, to really help us talk about this, as I introduced earlier, is DAMILARE Oyedele, who's a youth entrepreneur and also a young leader. Hey, DAMILARE, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm super great, David. Thank you so much for having me here today, man.
Super excited to have you here on the show, man.
Sure.
Priest, man. A priest.
Thank you
Priest
so
to
much.
have you.
Yeah.
Look good.
Oh, man, you're not by yourself, man.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank
Yeah.
you. So, I just talked about, briefly introduced the topic for this episode. Yeah, but before we go into the details, I would like to just, get a few insights from you, okay? I'll ask you 3 questions.
Oh,
So,
okay.
the first question is, are leaders born or made?
Leaders are made.
Wow.
Because circumstances around you brings up the leadership skill in you to lead yourself and lead others. So leadership is about you leading yourself, leading those around you. So leaders are made.
Wow, okay. Second question is, in 3 ways, what makes a good leader?
In 3 words, what makes a good leader?
Mhm.
Opportunity to serve.
Opportunity to serve.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. The last one, which leader in Africa inspires you?
That's Paul Kagame.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So today's topic, of course, is youth in leadership as well as in Africa. So to begin with, I would like you to describe what leadership is to you.
Okay, for me, I think leadership starts with you leading yourself. That's the first thing. And that skills to lead yourself equip you to lead others. Okay, and leadership could be in various spaces. It could be in the corporate environment. It could be in governance. It could be in your family or amongst your friends. So, leadership is all about you taking responsibility for yourself and those around you. And that's the basis of leadership. It's about commitment. It's about service. It's about the willingness to be committed to serve others around you and to lead progress for those that are with you, basically.
Wow. Talking of leadership in Africa and especially young people, as a young person and from your one perspective, how much do you think young African people are willing to be into leadership positions?
That's a very critical question. We need to start to explore and have feasible solutions to that. How can young people on the continent aspire leadership positions and not just aspire, build the skills and capacity to lead? But that is very important. It's a difference you willing to lead, or do you have the skills and capacity to lead? Okay. So now the question comes to what I think the African continent, we're blessed with a lot of young people. Currently, the continent with the youngest population globally, and that connotes the need for us to groom more young leaders on the continent to lead the future of Africa forward. And that's what Veronica is doing with African Leadership University in Kigali, Rwanda. So I think young people's skills to lead is important, and they need to build the capacity of young people with the skills they need to take leadership positions is very, very critical. Okay, and looking at leadership in Africa, young people engaging in these positions. I'm going to say it depends on which aspect of leadership. Is it governance? Okay. In governance, we've seen less of young people participating in political positions on the continent. Okay. And that connotes the need to groom and nurture young people to understand politics and democracy and governance in their various countries and how they can key to these spaces to create a more sustainable future that would drive prosperity for the continent and our people. All right. And also in terms of corporate society, business corporations, tech world. Young people are leading innovation in that particular aspect of our endeavor. You see companies, tech companies like Paystack, tech companies like Flutewave, being led by young, smart Africans, co-creating solutions to drive progress for the continent. companies like Earth Tracker, leading innovative Earth solutions on the continent. I mean, young people are driving progress in various areas of leadership. But a major part that has been very missed, that young people are missing is governance.
Okay.
Governance, democracy, and politics. And that is where we need to work more to invest, train, and groom more young people to be part of. Okay. And more importantly, encouraging and creating more spaces for women to be part of leadership process. Okay. Because we need more young women to be part of this process to co-create and build a prosperous continent for Africa. Because without good leadership, we won't make any measurable, any meaningful progress, apparently. But however, how can we groom young people, which apparently for a Swanika have studied with African Leadership University, young people like myself, like yourself, getting the skills needed to lead the future of Africa forward. So, I mean, we have a responsibility here to train ourselves, to harness the skills we need to lead in these positions. And not just that, exploring collaborative efforts to co-create solutions that will drive progress for the continent.
Well, interesting and well explained there. Now, you mentioned something which is about governance, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the involvement or engagement of young African, leaders into these leadership positions or African leadership. How would you describe the current state of youth engagement into leadership or various leadership positions? Are young people being given opportunities to be leaders?
Okay, and I mean, yeah, that's something debatable. I mean, young people given the position to lead, it's. I think, as I've said earlier, in various African countries, right, there are systems, there are institutions in place that has been built over time. Okay, and these structures and systems, some of we young people don't understand how the system works, especially in governance. Okay, and it is essential for us to learn how the system works, understand the process, and be part of it, and grow with it, and explore the system to lead in governance. Okay, I don't know much about governance on the African continent, but I'm going to be speaking based on my experience working and leading organizations. Okay, I mean, there's a system in place in each country that guides governance and politics. Okay, and it is important for we as young people to understand what the systems are. Okay, and of course, looking at giving chance for young people to participate in these systems, to play in terms of governance, leadership positions. Okay, which apparently is not really happening. Okay, let's look at the age range of African leaders. I mean, how many young people do we have there? All right, but now let's go down to local government, to state governments in country, in these countries. How many young people do we have in those positions? Okay, and that's why organizations like IAGA Africa in Nigeria are driving progress for young people to be part of governance from the start, from an early stage. Okay, and as a matter of fact, I think last year a bill was passed that reduced the age participation in policies in governance in Nigeria, to give more young people the chance to be part of this process. Okay, so I mean, for young people to engage in politics, in governance, a lot needs to be done in terms of legislation and policy. Does it enable young people to be part of it? Okay, what is the age range of participation in governance, in politics in each country? And more so, does the system provides capacity development for young people to be able to harness the potentials to lead and be part of these processes? All right. So participation comes with we as young people ourselves taking leadership to be part of this system, to learn, grow, improve, advocate, lobby, and see how can we harness the available institutions to drive progress. And unfortunately, the African Union have the Office of the African Union Youth Envoy, which as a young person, they're working with the African Union Head of State to drive progress for young people on the continent. So I mean, we in our various countries needs to internalize and domesticate and integrate what is our approach to engage young people into politics and governance. And we as young people ourselves, okay, we have a responsibility to go there and be part of it. Don't say you're not invited. No, it's your future we're deciding here. and you have a responsibility to be part of the process, learn the process, work on improvements, and be part of it to make meaningful changes that will bring about prosperity and growth for your community.
Awesome. Still on governance, though, you know what? I believe political leadership or governance leadership, this is one of the most important kind of leadership that the world needs. You know, there is need to have a proper kind of leadership into their into politics or governance, right? But again, there is this problem that has been observed that many young people in Africa are willing to go into different kind of leadership, but not governance. Yet it's the most important part of leadership to lead your country. What's the problem?
Yeah, I mean, okay, young people are not willing to go into governance, right? And they're willing to go into other aspects of leadership. I mean, okay, I think I have a personal story to share on this. I can recall I applied for a particular fellowship program, and I went for the interview stage, and they asked me, "Are you interested in politics?" I said no. Yeah, I could see that disappointment in their faces, like, wow. And it occurred to me that particular moment, I knew I lost the fellowship already. Okay, yeah.
So disqualified.
So now reflecting on my decision, on my thinking, and now I'll be reflecting on, if we're not in governance, if we're not in policy-making decision table, how do we now influence change that will drive progress for our society? That is where decisions are made. Okay. And why young people not wanting to go into politics, wanting to go into governance? I think one major relatable concern for me is just about the old headache, the old stress, the old matata around the African political ecospace. Okay.
Yeah.
The old struggles, the old, environment is kind of toxic.
Is it because also, sorry to cut you short, it's known that governance leadership or political leadership is kind of like, for lack of better term, it's a dead game.
Dirty game?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you could say so. I mean, we see what happens in various African countries when it comes to politics, electioneering, and governance. Okay, it's kind of, it's complicated, right? It's super complicated,
and that instills fear in young people.
Fear, right? Fear of, man, I don't want to be named. I don't want to be seen as this and that. I'm just gonna focus on my stuff and do my things and live my life peacefully. But that is a space whereby decisions are being made that affect larger environments, right? And we can't continuously run away from it. So now we need to be serious with ourselves as young people. We can't run away from politics and governance. It is a space we have to engage in. We have to be part of it. We have to learn how the system works. And do the due diligence to build our community, to understand governance and be part of this system. So it's a bit scary, and sometimes we shy away from it because we see it as dirty game, right? But we can't keep running away from those spaces because that is where decisions are being made that really affect our lives. And if we're in those positions of power, we'll be able to influence decision-making processes to create a prosperous and enabling environment for Africans and to thrive in our various communities.
Awesome. Now, the other thing is when we talk of leadership, especially in Africa, it is also known that there is low participation of women into different kind of leadership positions. What's your say on that? What has led to having, low women participation into leadership?
Okay, thank you very much for this question once again, David. I think women participation in leadership, not just governance here, is something that we need to improve on the continent. It's something that we need to start from the family level. Okay, how do we raise our kids? Okay, how do we raise our female child? All right, do we from that stage instill leadership position in them to lead anywhere they are? And that grows up with them gradually. Okay, and also we have a responsibility as a community also to create an enabling environment, okay, for women and our young girls and ladies to feel comfortable and confident to participate in leadership positions. Okay. And personally myself, I've been fortunate to be trained and groomed and nurtured by women. Okay. Wow. And you'll be amazed at leadership skills that they possess. All right. So, and I think we have a responsibility again as young Africans, okay, as young people that are committed to the growth of this continent, to create enabling spaces for both genders, for male and female, to thrive exceptionally when it comes to leadership positions, okay. And how do we do this? Is about capacity development of our young girls and women. Okay, empowerment, all right, changing the perspective about what leadership is. That they also, as female, have the responsibility and the skills and the knowledge that the male has to lead in any position they want to go for. So I think more needs to be done in terms of capacity, in terms of changing narrative, in terms of creating policies that will enable women, girls, ladies, female to be part of leadership process from the start. And not just from the start, that will enable all of us to coexist together, right, and thrive exceptionally in our various spaces.
Awesome. I'm just being joined by DAMILARE, who is a young African leader. Of course, very passionate about leadership. You could tell from his voice indeed that he is very, very passionate about this topic. So yeah, of course, he has mentioned quite a number of things and he has given emphasis on how we young Africans can actually take up different kind of leadership positions, but with, of course, governance, number of young people out there, we want to be leaders, but we don't want to be into the most, important leadership category in the world, which is governance or politics. I mean, how could you rule the world if we're not into that leadership position that really matters? All right, so DAMILARE, to move on now, let's talk about becoming, a leader. It's not as maybe, I don't know, okay. So how does one become a great leader, be it in their business, in their organization, or in their community? What does it take?
Well, I think this question should be directed to someone more experienced and has wide years of experience in leadership system, people like Paul Kagame, Freswanika, and the likes. But I think I'm going to share practical examples of how this applies to me as a person. I'm a leader in the making. And I think first and foremost is the commitment to serve, right? And that comes to you leading yourself, right? And through that, you're able to lead others, okay? And as you grow, humility is important, okay? Because leadership position exposes you to so much resources in terms of human resources, capacity. And as you're exposed to those things, you have a responsibility to use those resources adequately to achieve meaningful impact and progress. Okay. And that comes with you understanding how to engage with people around you. Okay. How to coordinate people, how to communicate effectively, how to, be engaging and understand people, and above all, empathy. All right. And as a leader, you have a responsibility and a commitment to carefully understand how to direct the committed efforts of those that you lead, okay, to achieve meaningful impact for your work. So, being a good leader, there is no cast in stone principle or guidance to that. But it starts with you leading self, okay? And when you're able to lead yourself, you're able to have the skills, the capacity to engage others around you on a particular cause, on a particular mission, on a particular goal you want to achieve, okay? And through that process, you're able to coordinate, interact, engage, advise, guide those around you, and prioritizing the growth of your constituents. What do I mean? Those that work with you, the welfareism, their lives. What do they want to do with the future? It's about listening to them, okay? Listening to them and deciding with them what they want to do. So, over time, leading Library Aid Africa and working with other colleagues, I've found empathy very important to my work, okay? taking a pause to reflect on a decision and putting myself in the shoes of the person I'm trying to decide with. All right. And through that process, I'm able to communicate with my colleagues and say, okay, what is going on? What do you want us to do? And how can we shape this forward? Right. And also, humility is very, very important. Okay. And simplicity. Okay. Some great leaders I aspire, that I look up to. When I get to meet and connect with them, I'm really, really amazed at how humble they are, right? And they have a principle of treating everybody around them with dignity and respect. Okay, and when I see them speak, when I listen to them speak in various events, I'm amazed at how they engage people around them, where they communicate their vision clearly, and they're able to look around for the resources, human resources, people around them to achieve that goal. Amazing leader like Paul Kagame, a exceptional leader that I respect on the African continent. I mean, these are leaders that are worthy of emulation. People we look up to lead us forward on the continent. And I mean, as young people myself, as a young person myself, and as you are, okay, we have a commitment to look inward into ourselves, to lead self, okay, attaches empathy to lead others around us, and to treat everybody around us with dignity and respect. I mean, with all these things, with commitment and consistency, it's never an easy journey. No. Okay, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be ups and downs, right? But I mean, as you grow, we continue to learn, improve, and study. You have to read, bro. You're gonna have to read books. I mean, not just books, resources, videos, because this is a place where you get to learn more about who you are, about your style of leadership, all right, and how you can improve as time goes on and become a better person as you lead forward. Yeah.
That's a very important point you have just mentioned, and you did also touch a bit about prioritizing something. Okay, right? Priority. Now let's talk about that. What should young people, or what should we, young leaders, prioritize immediately we have been given an opportunity to lead or to be put into any kind of leadership position? What should we prioritize?
Okay, listening.
To who?
To your constituents, to those you work with, to those you lead. Listening to what they want to see, what they want to hear, how they want to work with you, the progress they want to see, okay? And also, you communicating effectively. Communication is key in leadership position. Are you able to communicate to your team what the vision is? People want to follow vision. So are you able to communicate your vision to them clearly to say, by 2030, we're going to achieve A, B, C, D. But now, we need to do X, Y, Z to get there. Right? And they can see themselves in that vision. Right? And they work to achieve it. And they see the skills they have, the skills you have to drive progress together. Okay? So listening and communication is very, very important. And listening and communication with a vision. Those goes hand in hand together to enable you to build a team and work together. And believe me, not everybody would work with you forever, right? And that's what I said, as leaders, you have a responsibility also to be able to direct the commitment and effort of your team to drive meaningful progress for your work. Okay, some will be with you on short-term basis, some will be with you on long-term basis, some will just come and go. We need to accept that process. Okay, but the bottom line is, whenever they come, whenever you work with anybody, treat everybody around you with dignity and respect. But that will leave a long-lasting memory in their mind about your leadership style and the commitment you've made to lead yourself and lead those around.
Okay, so a very common and popular concern among African people and even us, young people, we have talked or blamed our leaders, or we have talked about Africa. We have quite a number of very, very old people into different kind of leadership positions. They don't want to leave those positions for the young generation or for young people. Now, as a continent, how could Africa change the narrative when it comes to embracing young people as its leader?
Okay, embracing people as leaders in Africa, it's peculiar to all African countries, right? And this is conversations, not just conversations, plans we need to work on policies that will enable young people to be able to access leadership positions, not just lead with the resources to drive progress forward. Okay, and I think more lies in our hands as young people. What do I mean? One, the skills and the capacity. Okay. Number two, understanding the eco space. Of leadership. Now, I think now you're talking more about governance in this context, from right? Okay, understanding that eco space. How does it work? Right? What is the process like? Okay, and also centralizing the system of who goes for what and what goes for who. Okay, thereby creating a sustainable base to accommodate more young people part of these processes. Okay, I mean, we can't really for now have a template that works for all country or for all region. Okay, but if we as young people can take that position into our hands and explore the existing system and structures of my country, how can we get there? Okay, what is the policy saying about these things? Okay, does our policy in my country or in your country enable young people to be part of governance? Okay, does it enable us to be part of governance and thrive? All right, so if we can fix policy issue, then we're one step ahead. Okay, and then that goes to how can we now mobilize resources to support young people to be part of governance? Because sometimes when you go to this political party and you want to vie for a position, the money you have to pay to be part of the political party is even scary. And now going for a position, you're like, man, I don't have this money. I mean, yeah. And not forgetting that there's an institution on ground with people that are waiting for their turn. So you're coming as a fresh dude, like, oh, bro, come on, it's not your turn yet.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and that's why we need to understand how the system works. Okay. How the system works, how it operates, and how you can drive progress forward. So there's more that needs to be done on our part of young people to understand the system. Okay. Push for policy implementation or reviews that enable us to be part of this system and grow with it. We also have to learn about the structures in place, the people in place, because that is where the game is being played, right? The structure in place. Okay, what do we need to be part of the system to improve the system? So I think more lies in our hands to understand the system, and that goes into policy. After policy, how can we support each other to mobilize resources? And through that, okay, capacity development is also important. The skills and the knowledge to be able to be part of this governance system and create a sustainable and a prosperous community for all.
Understanding the system, that's the point that I've gotten from DAMILARE. So you have to understand how the system works in order for you to become a great leader, regardless of which type of leadership department or category you are going for. Understand the system, and that way it's going to be very easy for you to succeed in your leadership journey. So now, before we let you go, DAMILARE, let's now try to close by looking at the future of African leadership, how the future looks like for young African when it comes to leadership.
I mean, I think I have hope and encouragement of a brighter future. Okay, I have hope and encouragement of a brighter future, number one. And that hope and encouragement is among fellow young people. Okay, who like yourself, who like myself, right? And that keeps me going to say there is hope for a prosperous African nation. Looking at young people in governance, okay, exploring all frontiers of knowledge to be able to be part of governance processes, to lead, okay, to lead self and lead others around them. Aside that, education, tech startups, amazing young Africans like yourself in various spaces are nursing opportunities to create change in the community. And that makes me think of the next 1 or 2 decades, okay? What do we want to see? And you can see the picture of an Africa where there are working systems in place to drive progress for inclusive growth and development, be it education, be it governance, be it health, any space whatsoever. Because why? There are young people in these spaces who are constantly and consistently creating solutions, inclusive solutions that would make change happen. All right? And that is what we want to see, okay? When our prime age right now, and now we're putting that to efforts that will shape a prosperous society where everybody thrives, all right? And, you know, another says in my country that if everybody sweep their doorstep, okay, the whole community will be clean, all right? So as you doing amazing work you're working on, I'm doing mine. My friend Kayode Alabi is doing his own also. I mean, other young people in various African countries are doing amazing work in education, in technology, in governance. I believe all these efforts, okay, all these efforts will metamorphose and shape a beautiful future Africa where Africa thrives and African thrives, and a living environment for young Africans to thrive and excel, irrespective of their background. Okay, and that is what we want to see. All right, and that is the hope that we have, the dream that we're building for the continent, the aspirations of our founding fathers, in Kwame Nkrumah and the rest, saw, and what they've given us the foundation to build upon. All right, and of course this comes with work, right? It comes with commitment, it comes with consistency, it comes with diligence. Okay, it comes with learning and relearning a lot of things and learning a lot of things, right? And I mean, more importantly also, collaborative efforts, okay? Because you can't just do everything alone, right? You need to collaborate, you need to engage people around you. And now at ALU, we are fortunate to be amongst smartest brains across African countries. I mean, it gives you the chance to be able to engage with your ideas with various people across various countries to harness how you can integrate solutions, how you can domesticate solutions, local solutions that bring about a global impact. Okay, I mean, I'm going to end by saying I have hope and encouragement of a better future. Thank you very much.
That was DAMILARE, a young African leader, very passionate indeed on the topic of discussion today. Thank you so much. I hope that and believe that you have really found this conversation very, very educative and indeed inspiring. Of course, we know that the future of Africa is in our hands. And of course, we really have to take good care of it. Thank you so much for watching and for joining us during this episode. We hope that you're going to be joining us again back next week. This is David Mubita. I'm your host. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, which is on YouTube, The Talking Podcast, as well as on Instagram, The Talking Podcast. Make sure you share this content with your colleagues so that they are part of it. Thank you so much. Do join us again next time. Bye-bye.